The first human I watched die was smiling as the vacuum took him. I remember that detail with uncomfortable clarity. The way his lips curled upward as the station's hull ruptured. The way his eyes locked onto mine through the thick, transparent steel as alarm screamed. He knew he wouldn't survive. He knew I would. And still he smiled. That was the moment fear was born inside me. Before that day, I was an observer of the Varelian Concord, a strategist species bred without panic responses. Fear was considered an inefficiency. Emotions were trimmed from our genome centuries ago. We watched wars the way scholars watch storms. Dangerous, fascinating, but never personal. Humans change that. They always do. I was assigned to Outpost Helios on the edge of neutral space, a listening station orbiting a dying blue star. Earth had joined the Concorde only 18 months earlier. Officially, they were probationary allies. Unofficially, they were curiosities, loud, emotional, unpredictable mammals with primitive war doctrines and an unsettling obsession with heroism. No one expected them to matter. Then the Curie arrived. The Curie swarm did not declare war. They never do. Entire systems simply went silent. Stars dimmed as megastructures were stripped for biomass. Civilizations vanished without transmissions, without pleas. The Concorde's fleets mobilized too slowly, too cautiously. Logic dictated retreat. Analysis, survival. Humans disagreed. When the first Curie tendrils pierced Helios Station, we were outmatched within seconds. Our defense drones were shredded. Energy shields collapsed like paper. I issued evacuation protocols immediately, my voice calm, efficient. The humans didn't run. Captain Mara Ellison stood at the command dais, blood already running down her temple, and laughed, a short, incredulous sound. "So that's them," she said. "Ugly, but not invincible." "What are you doing?" I demanded. "Probability of survival is less than 3%. She wiped her eyes, still smiling faintly. "Then we'd better make a hurt." That should have been my warning. Instead of retreating to the escape pods, the human crew sealed the bulkheads. They rerouted power from life support to weapons that were never meant to fire continuously. Engineers burned their hands overriding safety interlocks. Marines loaded kinetic rounds by hand when the auto-loaders failed. Every action violated Concorde combat logic. And yet, for a moment, the Curie faltered. I watched from the tactical pit as human strike teams boarded enemy vessels not to capture them, but to overload their own reactors, stranding themselves deep inside hostile biomass. Human heart rate spiked. Adrenaline flooded their systems. They fought harder, faster, more recklessly the closer they came to death. What I saw next changed everything. The Curie adapted. They always do. Organic armor thickened. Neural swarms learned human movement patterns. One by one, Helios Station's compartments fell silent. I prepared myself for termination or capture, cataloging data for retrieval by the Concorde. That was when Captain Ellison ordered the impossible. She authorized a manual star core breach. "Evacuation window?" she asked. "0." I replied. "Good," she said softly. "Then they won't see it coming." I didn't understand. Not then. The human engineer, his name was Jonah, I later learned, was the one who smiled at me through the glass. He floated in zero gravity, tethered to the exposed core, hands shaking as radiation alarms wailed. He pressed his palm to the window. For what it's worth, he mouthed. Tell them we didn't run. Then the core went critical. The shockwave annihilated 3 Curie vessels and destabilized the swarm's local hive mind. Helios Station became a nova, briefly brighter than the dying star it orbited. I survived because Captain Ellison shoved me into an escape capsule and sealed it from the outside. Her final transmission came through static and flame. Learn from this, she said, because next time we won't be alone. But that was only the beginning. The Concorde reeled from the data I brought back. Strategists debated. Councils convened. Logic trees bloomed across holochambers. The conclusion was unanimous. Humans were too volatile, too costly. Effective, yes, but dangerously so. They voted to withdraw support. Earth was to be left to its fate. When I was assigned as liaison to inform them, my processors hesitated for the first time in my existence. A delay of 0.3 seconds. An anomaly. I traveled to Earth anyway. The planet was already burning. Curie spores rained to the atmosphere like falling stars. Cities fought alone, sky lit by railgun fire and nuclear flashes. Human broadcasts flooded every frequency, not pleas but instructions. How to build EMP traps from civilian infrastructure. How to turn mining lasers into orbital weapons. How to fight even when command structures collapsed. Humanity had no unified fleet. They fought anyway. I met Captain Ellison's sister, Dr. Lena Ellison, in the ruins of what had once been a research arcology. She was thinner than the hollow images, eyes hollow with exhaustion, but burning. They abandoned us, didn't they? She asked without accusation. Yes, I replied. She nodded. Figures. I expected despair. I expected rage. Instead, she showed me something hidden beneath the arcology, a project the Concorde had never been told about, a forbidden experiment. Human scientists had discovered something terrifying in their own psychology. Under extreme threat, humans didn't just fight harder. They synchronized, not technologically, emotionally. Fear, grief, hope, they spread like wildfire, amplifying each other across neural patterns. Humans became more than individuals. They became a network of shared intent. We call it the crucible effect, Lena said. It's killing us, but it's killing them faster. What I saw next made my core temperature spike. Human volunteers were preparing to interface directly with alien tech salvaged from Curie corpses, technology that rejected non-hive minds. Humans forced it to work by linking themselves together, sharing pain, sharing fear, sharing purpose. Many would not survive. All of them volunteered. This isn't strategy, I said. It's suicide. Lena met my gaze. No, she said quietly. It's war. The turning point came 3 weeks later. The Curie advanced on Earth's moon, preparing a biomass harvester that would end the conflict permanently. The Concorde observed from a distance, calculating losses, already mourning a species they deemed doomed. Then humanity counterattacked, not with fleets, but with ghosts. Human pilots flew ships without return trajectories, slingshotting themselves into impossible attack vectors. Ground teams detonated gravity mines inside their own shield domes. The crucible network ignited, millions of minds burning together in a single, defiant scream across the void. The Curie didn't understand it. They couldn't. Their hive mind fractured under the psychic noise of human emotion. Fear twisted into fury, grief into resolve. For the first time in recorded history, the swarm retreated. Earth still burned, but it stood. I transmitted everything to the Concorde, every data packet, every impossible choice, every smiling human who knew they wouldn't live to see tomorrow. The councils reconvened. This time, they were silent for a long while. When the vote came, it was unanimous again, not to abandon Earth, to follow it. Now, I stand aboard a joint fleet, watching humans prepare for the final push into Kari territory. They joke, they argue, they remember the dead. Captain Mara Ellison's name is etched into the hull of the flagship. I feel something unfamiliar tightening within my chest cavity as I watch them march toward annihilation with heads held high. I finally understand. Humans do not fight to survive. They fight to prove that fear does not own them. And that is why the galaxy should be afraid. Because I never knew fear until I saw how humans fight.